Okay, welcome back to the channel. Hobby1 Kenobi here. Today we are going to tackle the next project, which is the SU-25, also known as the Frogfoot. And this is a kit by Zvezda. This is 1/48 scale. And I have to tell you, this is a kit I've been wanting to build for a while now. I've always loved the old monogram kit, and just when Zvezda came out with this kit, it's been on my radar and something, I really wanted to tackle. Just love the history of this aircraft. I love the style of the aircraft, the paint job, everything about it is just really cool. So we're gonna go ahead and tackle it. And as you can see, you got the box here. I went ahead and took out all of the sprues already. Rather than doing a formal in-box review, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right in and start working on the kit, and we'll kind of do a review as we go along here. All right, so we've got the instructions here. I've sort of called out some of the specific colors we're gonna need. The reason I've got all this paint on here is, well, I was trying to blend some colors together to get just the right kind of interior blue. And I had to be really careful about this because I need to have it blend well with these 3D decals. Now this set is by Quinta Studios. And in my previous videos and in the past, I've worked with the Edward Zoom 3D decals, but I found those to be quite pixelated. So I'm excited about working with these. These look to be much higher quality of print. I decided to start with the blue that they called for in the instructions here. For the Tamiya paints, it is XF18, and this is really dark and did not match the 3D decal set. So I needed to blend, and I'm going to put the ratio and the particular paints that I used up on the screen here. However, a note of caution, even after all the work that I put in, when it dried, it still did not match as well as I had hoped. Rather than go with the kit supplied ejection seat, I decided to go ahead and get an aftermarket seat from Quick Boost. For my reference, I'm going to use this Concord Publications book. They have a lot of great color photos. There's a lot of wonderful information. There's some fairly good interior shots as well as exterior shots. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I wanted to have a look at the control panel, and specifically here the top portion of the control panel. As you can see, this is very thick. And looking at my references, there should be a very thin line, almost sheet metal thin part here. And this is a very common place to do a little bit of extra detailing on really any aircraft kit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this X-Acto knife and I'm just going to carve it down and scrape off as much plastic as I can. And now that I've got the piece fairly thin, I'm going to come at it with a sanding stick. You can of course use a file, but I find that sometimes files can be a little bit too aggressive. And there we have it. So now here I've got some of the parts painted, and I've got a nice gloss coat on them so that they're ready to accept the wash. I went ahead and painted the control panel black, and I did some fine dry brushing to bring out some of the details. I also started to paint the seat here and also painted some of the details on the seat as well. So now we're going to start adding a wash to the color. And I've got some turpenoid here and a mixture of, we're going to have a mixture of some black, a little bit of white to make a gray, and add just a touch of brown to add a little bit of that grimy look to it. All right, let's take some of the oil and just go ahead and slather it on, getting into the crevices. And I'm going to use this as both a way of bringing up details, sort of deepening shadows, as well as representing grime and just general weathering. So now that the wash has dried, we're going to come at it with a Q-tip, and I'm going to leave just a little bit of it on here. The reason why I added the wash on the sidewalls is not to bring out any detail. As you can see, there simply isn't any detail, but it's really to give it a similar tone as the rest of the cockpit. And as you can see here, I'm trying to see if the tone matches that with the 3D decals. It's fairly blue still. The wash has darkened it a little bit, and I'm hoping that with a flat coat, the richness of the blue will be reduced a bit. And now that the bucket seat is dry, we're going to go ahead and again remove most of the wash, hoping that some of it stays in some of the crevices. Okay, finally all of the parts have received a flat coat, and now I'm ready to apply these 3D decals for the control panel and sidewalls. So we're going to start with the control panel here. I'm going to use microcrystal clear to adhere the decal to the surface, and I'm going to dip it in water, but only briefly. I find that some modelers make the mistake of allowing the decal to sit in the water and soak, and therefore it has a hard time conforming and fitting into the place that it was designed to fit. The reason why we add water to these decals really is just to remove it from the backing. So I'm just going to dip it in the water just for a while, just mere seconds, and then start to move the decal away from the backing paper. Once I've done that, we are going to want to actually dry the decal fairly quickly. I'm going to use microcrystal clear to adhere the decal to the surface. Another thing that I find modelers do is that they load up on the glue, and really we just need a little bit, a thin layer, and the wetness of the decal should activate the glue nicely and allow it to stick fairly strong. So I'm going to start to apply the glue here and really just not use a whole lot and just try to get a nice thin even layer. And now we're going to do the same with the control panels on the sides. Now I'm going to use a slightly dampened brush to remove any of the excess glue. Yes, the glue does dry clear, but there's no reason to leave any remnant of it. Just wipe it away, it comes right off. Well, that concludes this video. Please hit subscribe, please hit like, please hit the bell for future notifications. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to comment and feel free to share, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.